Ethan woke up with a sudden chill running across his scalp. He reached up instinctively and froze when his fingers touched bare skin. His hair was gone. A harsh, buzzing sound echoed in his mind as he turned and saw Maya, laughing softly while holding a camera pointed straight at him. She had shaved his entire head while he was asleep, recording every second for a prank video she was already preparing to upload. The humiliation hit him first, then the disbelief, and finally a quiet, simmering anger. He stared at the lens capturing his shock, realizing millions of strangers might soon laugh at his worst moment. In that instant, something inside him shifted. This wasn't just a joke anymore. It was the first spark of a war neither of them understood they were about to start. Maya's video went live less than an hour after the prank, and the internet devoured it instantly. Within minutes, comments poured in, some laughing, some calling her savage, others tagging their friends to join the spectacle. Maya kept refreshing the page, each spike in views feeding her excitement. She didn't notice how quiet Ethan had become, how his eyes lingered not on the screen but on her, cold and unreadable. She assumed he was embarrassed and that it would pass. But Ethan wasn't the type to laugh off humiliation, especially when millions of strangers were turning his misery into entertainment. While Maya rehearsed playful responses for future comments, Ethan sat at the dining table with his laptop open, scrolling through her walk-in closet gallery. The photos she had taken months earlier, lined up handbags, perfectly lit shelves, luxury brands arranged like museum pieces, now served a very different purpose. He clicked through them slowly, absorbing every detail, every model, every price point. To most people, they were accessories. To Maya, they were symbols of her online status, trophies she flaunted in haul videos and outfit posts. Ethan knew this. He had listened to her brag about wait lists, rare editions, and resale values so many times that he could recite the names by heart. So when he created listings for each bag, he already knew exactly what price to set. He didn't rush. He photographed everything carefully, wiped the surfaces, checked the stitching, confirmed authenticity cards. He wasn't doing this out of impulsiveness. This was precision. By the time Maya returned from her gym session, the first few bags had already been sold. Ethan greeted her casually, asking about her workout, watching her chatter as if nothing unusual was happening. He almost felt a strange sense of calm, as though the balance between them was slowly correcting itself. 2 hours later, while Maya was in the shower, an email notification popped up confirming another successful payment. Then another. And another. By evening, he had made more than he expected, far more. He transferred the money into his account with a steady hand, feeling a quiet satisfaction settle in his chest. He didn't gloat. He didn't taunt her. He simply waited. Night fell, and Maya finally noticed something was wrong when she walked into her closet to pick a bag for dinner. Her step slowed. Her breath hitched. She blinked rapidly, as if her eyes were playing tricks on her. The top shelves were empty. She opened every drawer, every cabinet, her movements becoming frantic. "Ethan," she called out, voice dropping into a trembling whisper. He appeared at the doorway, arms crossed lightly, watching her crumble. Her face drained of color as realization hit her. "What did you do?" she choked out. Ethan tilted his head and answered with a calmness that terrified her. "I just played a prank," he said. "You know, like you did." It was in that moment Maya understood this wasn't retaliation. It was the beginning of something far worse. Maya's panic set in instantly, tightening around her chest like a vice as she tore through the empty shelves again and again. She kept hoping it was some kind of illusion, a misunderstanding, a prank that stopped right before the line. But the truth stared back at her in the form of bare hooks and dust outlines where her handbags used to sit. Her voice cracked as she demanded answers, but Ethan's calm expression only fueled her fear. He didn't shout. He didn't apologize. He didn't act guilty. And that terrified her more than anything. She stormed past him, snatched her phone, and immediately went live. Her words came out in shaky bursts as she told the audience Ethan had stolen her luxury collection worth tens of thousands of dollars. Comments exploded in real time, viewers gasping, choosing sides, fueling the chaos. Some told her to call the police. Others said she deserved it after shaving his head. The split opinions only made her more frantic. She ended the stream abruptly and dialed 911. Her voice trembled as she explained the situation, expecting sympathy, expecting urgency. But when the operator informed her it was a civil matter, not a criminal one, she froze. She tried again, insisting the items were valuable, insisting Ethan had no right, insisting she was the victim. The answer didn't change. She hung up the phone and felt the first wave of true helplessness wash over her. The law wouldn't save her. The internet wouldn't unanimously defend her. And Ethan wasn't showing even a hint of remorse. When she returned online to vent, the tone had shifted. People clipped her meltdown from the previous stream and reposted it with mocking captions. Some questioned her spending habits. Others accused her of using drama for clout. A few larger commentary accounts reacted in real time, dissecting her panic and pointing out how casually she had humiliated Ethan days earlier. Brands she worked with started sending cold, formal emails asking for clarification or postponing collaborations. One even paused payment until the public dispute was addressed. Her phone kept vibrating with notifications, but none brought comfort. Every new refresh felt like watching her influencer image corrode layer by layer. Meanwhile, Ethan stayed maddeningly composed. He made dinner. He cleaned the kitchen. He acted as if nothing monumental had happened. That calmness only pushed Maya further into a spiral. She confronted him again, screaming, crying, demanding he undo what he had done. But Ethan simply repeated that it was a prank. A joke. A mirror of what she had done to him. And for the first time, Maya realized she no longer had control of the narrative. The internet wasn't rallying behind her. The authorities wouldn't intervene. Her brand deals were slipping. And Ethan, quiet, calculated Ethan, had just turned her entire world inside out. It was the first time she felt the ground truly crack beneath her feet, and she sensed, deep down, that the nightmare had only begun. Maya's humiliation kept replaying in her mind, looping like a nightmare she couldn't wake from. Every notification on her phone felt like a dagger. Every new comment analyzing her meltdown made her skin crawl. She had always relied on her online image to feel powerful, but now that image was slipping through her fingers faster than she could grasp it. The anger that simmered beneath her panic began to rise, fueled by desperation and pride. She told herself Ethan had crossed a line, that he had attacked her first, that she had every right to strike back. The thought grew, swelled, and finally snapped into action. Her first move was small but cruel. She logged into their shared gym account and canceled Ethan's membership. No warning, no message, just a silent strike meant to inconvenience him. But when Ethan received the automated email, he barely reacted. He didn't argue. He didn't ask why. He simply shrugged and said he would switch gyms. That indifference enraged her more than any confrontation could have. So she escalated. She took his phone number and plastered it on Craigslist under fake ads offering free furniture, cheap electronics, and urgent same-day pickup. Within an hour, Ethan's phone was buzzing nonstop. Calls, texts, unknown numbers demanding addresses, people insisting he had promised a sofa. He glanced at the screen, sighed, and blocked one number after another. Still calm. Still unfazed. Maya's chest tightened with frustration. She needed him to feel chaos. She needed him to lose control the way she was losing everything. So she called his workplace. Her voice was trembling but deliberate, as she fed the receptionist a fabricated story about Ethan's unethical behavior and disturbing social media activity. She hoped, prayed, that this would finally shake him. But Ethan's boss knew him well and dismissed it as an obvious sabotage attempt. Ethan received a short email summarizing the incident, nothing more. He exhaled, closed his laptop, and went for a walk. Maya watched him leave, her pulse hammering in her throat. He wasn't breaking. He wasn't even bending. And that terrified her. Her final decision that day came from a place far darker than anger. It came from humiliation, from the fear of losing relevance, from the need to reclaim dominance in a story she no longer controlled. She picked up her phone, hit record, and marched to the living room where his PS5 sat. The camera captured everything. The console lifted off the shelf, her expression twisted with fury, and the sudden crash as she hurled it off the balcony. The sound of shattering plastic echoed through the courtyard below. Neighbors looked up in shock, but Maya didn't stop. She grabbed the TV next, then the coffee machine, filming each destruction like she was documenting evidence of her own rage. Every crash sent a jolt through her body, a twisted rush of triumph mixed with sickening dread. When Ethan returned, he found debris scattered on the pavement and Maya standing on the balcony, clutching her phone, breathing hard. For the first time, his calm shattered. His face tightened, and his voice dropped to a level she had never heard before. He told her she had crossed a legal line. He told her he was done. Then he walked inside, grabbed his keys, and drove straight to the police station. By midnight, there was a formal report with her name on it. And the war she thought she was winning had just turned irrevocably against her. Maya woke up the next morning to a wave of notifications that made her stomach twist. Clips of her destroying Ethan's belongings had spread overnight, reposted, stitched, and dissected by strangers who didn't even know her name a week ago. Commentary creators were already weighing in, calling her unhinged, reckless, and entitled. Some paused the video frame by frame, analyzing her expression with clinical coldness. Others used the footage as a cautionary tale about influencers losing touch with reality. Maya tried to defend herself in the comments, typing frantic explanations about being pushed, about being provoked, about Ethan stealing from her. But the more she typed, the worse it looked. Every reply she posted was screenshot and mocked. Her attempts at damage control only fueled the fire. She shifted tactics and crafted a longer video, claiming Ethan had been sabotaging her career behind the scenes and emotionally manipulating her. She cried on camera, voice cracking, begging viewers to understand her side. At first, a handful of followers expressed sympathy. But the tide turned brutally when someone leaked screenshots, emails between Maya and brand managers showing she had exaggerated collaborations, lied about metrics, and fabricated excuses. The receipts were undeniable. People accused her of manipulating not just Ethan, but her entire audience. The comment sections filled with disappointment, anger, and ridicule. Her follower count began dropping in real time, each refresh revealing another few hundred gone. Then the brand stepped in. Emails with subject lines like urgent and contract review flooded her inbox. Some terminated partnerships outright. Others demanded explanations and threatened legal review. A major skincare company publicly announced they were ending their collaboration due to recent concerning behavior. That statement alone became a viral post. Maya felt the walls closing in. Her income, her reputation, her identity, everything she had built online, was crumbling with terrifying speed. She tried to counter the narrative again, this time posting a supposedly heartfelt apology. But viewers noticed inconsistencies, rehearsed lines, and selective omissions. They pointed out the missing details about the items she destroyed, the lies she told about Ethan, the Craigslist harassment. Every attempt she made to regain control slipped through her hands like sand. Meanwhile, Ethan remained almost entirely silent on social media. He posted nothing. He commented nowhere. His restraint only amplified Maya's downfall. People praised him for staying composed despite everything she had done. Some even dug through past posts and found clips of him being polite, helpful, patient, further reinforcing that he wasn't the villain. Maya realized the worst part wasn't just losing followers or contracts. It was losing the narrative. She had always been the center of her own curated online world, the girl with perfect lighting, perfect takes, perfect captions. Now the internet was rewriting her story without her permission. And no matter how loud she screamed into her phone, the world wasn't listening anymore. They were watching her fall, slowly, publicly, and completely. Maya's breaking point arrived the moment she realized people were no longer arguing about her. They were laughing at her. She had lost the audience she built, the brands she relied on, and the narrative she once controlled with ease. Panic twisted into desperation, and desperation turned into a decision that would only push her deeper into the mess she created. She filed a lawsuit against Ethan. The claim demanded $100,000 in damages, alleging emotional distress, property loss, and defamation. She convinced herself that if she struck first, she could regain control. Her lawyer drafted statements that painted her as the victim, crafted carefully worded accusations, and warned her that the case would be aggressive. For a moment, Maya felt a flicker of hope. It died the moment Ethan received the notice. He didn't panic. He didn't hide. He didn't scramble for a defense. He simply opened a folder he had been quietly organizing for weeks, filled with time-stamped videos, screenshots of her posts, her live streams, and the police report already bearing her name. His response to the lawsuit was not fear. It was a countersuit. He accused her of assault for shaving his head without consent, of intentional property destruction for smashing his electronics, of harassment for the Craigslist postings, and of defamation for her fabricated stories about him sabotaging her career. He also added the official police documentation, witness statements from neighbors who saw the destruction, and copies of the brand emails that contradicted her claims. When Maya's lawyer reviewed Ethan's evidence, his expression changed from confidence to discomfort. He asked her if she had omitted anything important. She insisted she hadn't. But the evidence spoke louder than she ever could. The lawyer warned her that a judge would not look kindly on her actions, especially the recorded destruction of property and the online harassment. He suggested they consider settling before things escalated further. Maya's pride resisted, but fear gnawed at her. She imagined the headlines if she lost. She imagined the financial ruin. She imagined Ethan winning publicly and completely. Her chest tightened at the thought. A mediation meeting was scheduled. Ethan walked in calm, collected, with every document neatly organized. Maya arrived anxious, restless, unable to look him in the eye. The mediator reviewed the materials, pausing longest on the video of her throwing his belongings off the balcony. Then the so-called prank video of her shaving his head. Then the screenshots from Craigslist. Then the defamatory posts. Each piece was a nail in the coffin of her claims. The mediator's conclusion was clear. Maya's lawsuit was weak, her evidence insufficient, and her actions overwhelmingly harmful. Ethan's countersuit, on the other hand, was solid and supported by documentation. She was advised to withdraw her case immediately to prevent the situation from worsening. The lawyer beside her whispered the same recommendation. Her throat tightened as she signed the agreement to drop the suit. But the humiliation wasn't over. She was informed she would likely need to compensate Ethan for the damaged items. She would have to vacate the shared apartment. She would be restricted from contacting him. And legally, the door was closing on any further retaliation. When the meeting ended, Maya didn't speak. She simply sat there, trembling, realizing she had not only lost the battle, she had armed Ethan with every weapon he needed to win the war. Maya entered the mediation room hopping for a miracle, but the more the mediator spoke, the more her world collapsed. Each explanation felt like a slow and deliberate dismantling of her last defenses. The conclusion was unavoidable. She was the one overwhelmingly at fault. She was the one whose actions crossed legal and ethical boundaries. And she was the one who had turned a petty feud into a catastrophic downfall. When the mediator informed her she had no legal right to reclaim the handbags Ethan had sold, Maya felt her stomach drop. Those bags had been her trophies, her identity, her brand. Hearing they were gone forever was like losing pieces of herself she didn't know how to replace. But the next blow hit harder. She would have to compensate Ethan for the property she destroyed, $3,500 in damages, documented and verified. It was a number she could have afforded easily in her influencer prime. Now, with brand deals evaporating and income plummeting, it felt like salt rubbed deep into an open wound. She signed the agreement with trembling hands. With that signature, she also agreed to withdraw her lawsuit entirely, relinquish any claims against Ethan, and accept a limited contact order. She wasn't allowed to message him, tag him, or even reference him on social media. The silence imposed on her felt like a muzzle. After the meeting, she returned to the apartment only to pack. The mediator's decision required her to move out immediately, leaving behind the life she once flaunted online. She walked room to room in a daze. Every corner reminded her of a video she had filmed, a post she had staged, a moment she believed she was untouchable. Those memories now felt like scenes from someone else's life. By the time she carried her last suitcase out the door, Ethan didn't even look at her. He wasn't cruel. He wasn't triumphant. He was simply done. And somehow, that hurt her more than if he had gloated. Maya moved back to her parents' house, a place she hadn't lived since she started building her online persona. The familiar room felt foreign, stripped of the glamour she had grown used to. In the days that followed, her decline accelerated. Followers unfollowed in waves. Videos she posted trying to explain herself barely reached anyone. New content flopped, buried by the algorithm and overshadowed by commentary channels still dissecting her mistakes. Sponsors who once begged for her attention now ghosted her completely. She sold clothes, jewelry, old PR packages, anything she could convert into money. She tried to rebrand, posting motivational clips, lifestyle tips, even tearful apologies, but every attempt was met with indifference or scorn. She wasn't controversial anymore. She was simply irrelevant. Eventually, she stopped posting. The ring light gathered dust. Her tripod sat unused in the corner. And the girl who once curated her life for millions now struggled to curate a single day that felt meaningful. Meanwhile, Ethan slowly rebuilt his own life. He replaced the items she broke, upgraded his apartment, and allowed peace to return where chaos once lived. His hair grew back. His routine stabilized. He even started dating again, quietly and without the need for public validation. He didn't celebrate Maya's downfall. He didn't need to. Her actions had written their own ending. And the final truth settled across both of their lives like a cold shadow. One prank had started a war, but Maya's pride had finished it. Ethan returned to a quiet life that no longer revolved around damage control or emotional turbulence. He bought new furniture, replaced the electronics that had been smashed, and arranged his apartment the way he liked without worrying about being filmed or mocked. His hair grew back, slowly at first, then steadily, until he barely remembered the shock of that morning. Friends who had watched the chaos unfold invited him out more, relieved to see him reclaiming parts of himself he had lost. He started dating again with a calmer mindset, choosing someone who valued privacy over performance. There were no pranks, no online audiences, no hidden agendas, just normal conversations and quiet evenings that felt like relief. Meanwhile, the echo of the drama faded from his life, becoming nothing more than a cautionary story he rarely thought about. He never gloated about Maya's downfall and never revisited their past, because the lesson didn't require reflection. It lived in the scar of a shaved head and the memory of shattered plastic. In the end, he understood something simple. Some wars don't end with winners. They end when one person decides to walk away before the fire consumes them both.